As sad as this sounds, not everybody wants to be saved. Not everybody is open to being saved. Not everybody is going to get saved. And we need to work this out. We need to understand this up front. Some people will be lost. In fact, many will be lost. I was on a beach 2 days ago, and I turned around to my brother Curtis, and I said to him, how many people on this beach do you think are saved? And he looked around, and there must have been about 400 people on the beach. And this is, we're talking about 4 or 5 miles, right? And he said probably about 100. And I said, okay, let me have a look. And I started looking at genuinely who I thought might be saved. Now, there's no way that I could know. No way that I could really be sure. But as I started to sort of look at who potentially would be saved, and I started making assessments, and I know my assessments are fallible. They'd be incorrect. I get that. But from a summation, just a quick summation, I got the feeling that it was much less than 100. Much, much less than 100. Now, I can't see deeply down, 4 miles, 2 miles either side of me. But you kind of over time, and it took me a while, but over time, I sort of realized that 100 that he believed might be saved on that beach was probably a lot less than 100. Some people are never going to be saved. Not because we don't want them to be saved. Not because God doesn't want them to be saved. Not because they can't be saved. They just don't want to be saved. For the last long period of time, 12 years, I'm going to say, I have had a person in my life. Now, if I mention who this person is, if I even mention their title, you will immediately know who it is. So I'm really not going to be explanatory here. I'm just going to say just about every one of you knows who this person is, right? This person is very regularly in my world, in lots of areas. It's not my life partner. It's not my kids. But it's someone that I work with, someone who is with me a lot. And we work on lots of things together. And anybody who knows me knows probably who this person is. But by not mentioning who this name is, there's no comeback, really. Nobody can actually say who it is, because there are a lot of people around me, lots of people doing projects with me. But there's this one person that I've been genuinely communicating with for a long time now. I've prayed for this person. I keep hoping that they'll get it. But they don't get it. They just don't get it. They don't want to get it. What was interesting was last year, that person kind of fell away from my projects and things. We'd spent some good 11 years working on things together. And all of a sudden, because of what happened last year, and because of my renewing of my mind, but also my renewing of my heart and getting to know Christ, I introduced Christ to this person. And this person was very shocked. This person is of a different faith. And, I began to systematically let this person know that this was the truth. This is the truth. I have researched this. I have really gone deeply into this. This is not an accident that I have all of my life been studying this, that I understand this, that I've always looked into it, but I've never really had that encounter, that wrestling with the man moment that Jacob had just before meeting Esau in Genesis. But I had that last year. And, it just shows you how we can spend a lot of our time, our lives, thinking we know God. and then realizing that we actually don't know him. We don't know him until we know him, until we've wrestled with him, until we've actually figured him out, until he's actually been invited in, really invited in, not superficially, but really invited in. I had an encounter with God last year that really proved to me that up until then, I may have known about him, but I didn't know him. You know, I may have even prayed for decades. I may even have loved him, you know, but I didn't really know him. And I got to know him last year. I really got to know him. This friend of mine doesn't want to get to know him at all. I've tried. I've shown the differences in faith. The faith that this person believes in is counterfeit. It attacks the sovereignty, the divinity of Christ. And when I found out about it, and I made very strong distinctions, I showed this person very specifically why. This is the way, this is the path, this is it. Through proofs, you know, both historically, but also mathematically, both of the faith and otherwise. And this person still just did not want to go down that road. Now, what I'm intrigued by is that I kept thinking, I keep asking this person to come to events with me, to come to church, you know, there's so many, especially last year, you know, from about September, October, November, December. There were 4 months of feasts and parties and worship parties and praise events, really good, fun, enjoyable events. And I asked this person to join me many times. I said, come along, it'll be fun. Come along. And at the very beginning, I think it was somewhere, I can't remember exactly when, but the person came and there was a video on screen with Lisa Bevere, John Bevere's wife. And Lisa speaks in this video about, you know, she says, Jesus' words for the end times was, do not be deceived. And this person turns to me and says, that message was for me. I must not be deceived. I will stay with my faith. And I thought, wow, are you kidding? And I thought, okay, this is funny. This is a great little jumpy moment. It's one of those jump scare moments, right, where you don't expect it. And I thought, that's interesting. The very reason that I brought this person to this event was so that this person could wake up to the fact that they might be being deceived. But this person used those words, Jesus' words about not being deceived, to apply to their situation and stated very clearly that they did not want to be deceived. And anyway, I was intrigued. I was very intrigued by this, but I let it go. Anyway, subsequently to that, all the way through September, October, November, December, I kept inviting this person to events. And this person kept saying, yeah, they'll come, but they never came. On New Year's Eve, there was a big party, huge party at the church. It was like the most amazing party. Honestly, it was absolutely fun. The music was great. It was just beautiful being with all these people. And when I arrived, I had this impression. It was like arriving in heaven. Of course, it's not heaven. Heaven is a very special and very different place. But it was like everybody. All the faces were there, people that I recognized. They were friends. We were all hugging each other. It was almost like this family was all together. It was like everybody was there. And I was so excited because I thought, this is how heaven is going to be. When we all arrive in heaven, everybody's going to know each other. Everybody's going to be part of this. We made it. We were on that Rapture train. We got here, the Rapture plane. We got here. It was fantastic, right? And I was super intrigued because I felt, I wonder if my friend's going to come, because the invitation was put out there. This person had every option. This person works a lot, but this person didn't work on that day, or did work but ended early. And I thought, I'm gonna see if this person arrives. Well, this person didn't arrive, didn't come. And I, since then, have only texted this person. I've not sort of verbally. I've actually spoken once or twice, but just very briefly. But mostly it's been just texts. It's almost like I've said, you know what? I have spent almost a year focusing on trying to help you understand this and saving you, and you just don't get it. And God doesn't give up on us. God loves us. He really, really loves us. He will never give up on us. But we as humans, we can get fatigued with somebody who just doesn't get it. You know, this person doesn't get it. Just does not get it. And I get it, you know. This person is devout in their faith. And obviously, over decades of being brainwashed in their own particular brand of belief, they don't get it. They just can't see how what they have is not real. In fact, their faith has nothing. If you look up the name of their faith and then you put in healings, there are none. None come up, ever. If you put the name of their faith and Rapture, it doesn't come up. If you put the name of their faith and certain related topics, none of those things come up. None come up. Now, if I didn't want to be specific, because if I was specific, you'd know exactly not only who the person is, but what that faith is. You know, and the other thing too is I kind of got this feeling, because I wasn't paying attention, I got the feeling that it was almost like I was being told, leave it. Don't go there. Because that faith is very violent. It's a very aggressive faith. It's a very, they're just a very violent faith. And the last thing you want to do is if they're not interested, leave it. Let it go. You know, because every time someone from that faith comes over to Christianity, they lose like everything. They lose their entire, they lose their social groups. They lose their families. They lose everybody, because everybody, and it's like a big problem in their faith when they lose someone to Christianity, when they lose someone that becomes a Christ follower. It's not good for them. It's not good. And I think that, you know, and I said it to this person once. I said, you know, I get it. I get the difficulty with you converting. I get it, because it would change your world. It would change everything. You would lose family, you'd lose friends, you'd lose your social group. You know, you would lose. Even though you'd gain Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. But here on earth, you would lose everything. This person said, no, it's not because of that. It's just because, you know, I have all of this time invested in my faith, and I don't want to suddenly just jump ship just because, you know, something new came along. And I said, no, I get that. But when something new that comes along is an overriding piece of information that is vitally important to your salvation and will ensure that you actually enter heaven and that you're not lost. And if you don't, you know, it's not about you doing it for yourself. It's about you doing it for your family, you know, because you may get saved. But what about the time involved in your family getting communicated with, getting to know Jesus Christ? You know, we have to have that walk, the walk with our Creator. It's, you know, we're saved, but we have to have that walk of getting to know Him. It's so important. This person showed no interest. And ultimately, I gave up. And I've really, you know, I never give up, but I gave up. I kind of went, this is just too hard. It's just there's too much time involved and energy when I could be working with other people. Other people give their lives to Christ in 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Sometimes it's like instant. It's like you're out there, you speak to someone within a very short space of time, they accept Jesus Christ. This person has taken almost a year. It's just not worth it. The time investment is not worth it. This is why I say some people are not savable and you're not going to be able to do anything about it. You just have to accept it. You have to accept it. It says that all the tears will be wiped away in heaven. All of our tears will be wiped away. And there will be some that we can never save, we couldn't have saved. And the memories of those people will be deleted from our thinking, so we never ever have to think of them, because in essence, for whatever reason, this person has been very valuable in my life. This person has done a lot of good things for me in my life. This person has been a blessing, and I have tried and desired to return this blessing, in a very big way, but this person is not awake to it. They don't understand. They just don't get it. They don't understand that, we're dealing with God, the first and only communication between God and humanity. We're talking about a book that started being written in 3800 BC. It's an old communication between God and man. We had an extra 2,000 years after the birth of Christ, so we're told. 5781. This is what the Jews believe the year to be. That's a long time. When you consider the faith that this person believes in, their faith is not that old. It's a relatively new faith. Why would you not go to the source materials? Why would you not go to the source reference materials? I'm encouraging you today, if you know people that are not saved and you've been trying for years and years, I'm not saying give up, but move along. Start talking to other people. This sounds horrible. I feel like this is the hardest message to put out there, because you don't want to give up on anybody. But you've had your chance with them. It's not happened. Leave it. Let it go. Leave it. Psychologically even, it's the best thing to do, because they'll just get it that you're just not putting more energy into this. And it's not because you don't want to. If they change, if they show that they're awake, that they're interested in being saved, they'll come to you, because they know you're that port of call, that first contact that they had with this faith. So, I shouldn't say with this faith, with the faith. This is it. This is the one. So, I'm going to leave it there, but I'm just going to say, don't worry too much if people have just not responded. Move along, move on. There are many, many others to communicate with. I'm serious about this. Leave it. Just move on. You are a living, breathing representation, role model, inspired person in the world, in their world, that they know that's what you represent, that's who you are. By virtue of what you do and say every day, you are a living representation of Jesus Christ on the earth. They'll figure it out through your actions. You no longer have to try to get them to understand. Salvation is of the heart. It's not of the brain. You can give them as much evidence as you like, and they're never going to get it. After hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages and texts and emails, outlining the truth and what this is all about, etc., you would think that by now someone like that person that I know would have given their life to Christ, and they haven't. This is my one and only person that cannot get it. They just don't get it. They don't want to get it. That's not going to happen. Leave it. Move on. And that's what I did. That was one of my New Year's resolutions. As we counted down from 9 or 10 to 1 and 0, and 2021 was ushered in, I just went, that's it. not wasting time on people that just don't deserve the time. It's just not worth it, because there are so many people along the way that you can save immediately, and you'll find others you can't. And that's okay too. Move along, keep going, right? You may have dropped a seed and someone else will continue to place more seeds in that person's heart. Some people are just really hard-assed. They really are not easy to communicate with. They're just not interested. They're just hardened inside. Their hearts are hardened. You know, their lives are not there. They're not in that place where they're ready. They're waiting for salvation. Some people are just angry, all out angry. You know, there was one person I met along the river. There were two ladies, and one of them asked me, because I was doing my video vlog, and she heard me say something like, all the prophecies in the Bible are accurate. And she asked me the question, like, which ones? And I said, well, all of them. And her friend said, I don't believe in that stuff. And I said, well, you know, it is the truth. And she was like, nah, don't want to, you know, she was so angry, so upset. She goes, I'm so angry that this whole, you know, is it written in the Bible that there's this just suddenly happened? I said, yeah, of course. It's called the pestilence. It's the, you know, it's called the crown, the crown, the white horse, the crown. Have a look. She was like, nah, I don't want to know about it. I said, it's funny because I just told you that it's in there and you denied it. And she was like, well, yeah. And she was really angry. She was like, you know, I can't believe God does this. I said, well, what are you talking about? God didn't do this. God didn't do this. The enemy is doing this. You're blaming the wrong being. You know, and she was like, I don't believe in a mythical creature. I said, you know what? What's funny is you will totally move away from him. You will totally deny him. But when they start to usher in the Antichrist, you're going to be the first in line to welcome the Antichrist. So, you know, and I said it in a loving way. I mean, she could see I was sort of joking. But she was like super hardened and angry. And I thought, you know, that's it. Some people, her friend was okay. Her friend was a bit more listening, you know, really taking it in. And that may have been for her friend's advantage. That encounter that morning may have been for her friend and not for her, you know, for this hardened person. He who is hardened shall never, or he shall never be made soft without God's intervention. Only God can give you a fleshy heart. And, you know, and sometimes we run up against these people that are just so difficult to communicate with and be with. And I think, and I'm saying this right now, don't worry about it. Just move on. Your job's being done. You've made communication. You move on. And I think this is what pastors, you know, experience. They go through this. They want to tell everybody about Jesus Christ, like I did, like I do. But I've realized that some people are just not ready. They're not going to be ready. Stop it. Leave it. Move on. You've done your job. You know, anything more than that, you're a pest. You know, you're a pestilence. No, I'm kidding. But you're a pest, right? It's not worth it. Leave it. Move along. You'll find life works better. You know, now what I do is I pretty much communicate with everybody at every level. For me, it's like if I can save, you know, if I can bring the news, the gospel to as many people as I can, and I know that there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, you know, 20 that have been saved, that's fantastic. But there's going to be many that got away that didn't get saved. And I just have to deal with it. It's fine. You know, that's what it's about. It's like all the opportunities of a day. If I don't get off this recording, I'll lose most of my opportunities for the day. You know, it's just get on with it. Do it. You know, get on with it and do it. Anyway, this is for my channel, and I always record these because I like to sort of, every time I have an insight, it's something that I can help other evangelicals with. People that are evangelizing, they're out there, they really want to spread the word, and they don't realize that you can't save everybody, you know? You can't. Just accept that. We're going to discover that. You know, some people don't want to be saved. They're too upset. They're too angry. They're just not there yet, you know? They want to go through the tribulation. They really do. They want to go through it. For whatever reason, they just want to. And I kept saying to my friend last year, I kept saying, get saved now, early, right? You'll be on the rapture, and even if there is no rapture, don't worry about it. You will be with us. God will be with you. He'll protect you. He'll keep you safe. And this person had no interest. Okay, I totally believe there's a rapture, by the way, with all my heart, I know it's going to come. It's coming. I've seen the government documentation that is all about preparedness, a mass evacuation, deployment action documentation. I've seen it. I know it's there. They're preparing for it. They have been preparing it for a while. They also have a counter event that's going to happen as quickly as they know that this rapture has happened. They're going to do their own. They're going to have their own almost immediately. In fact, they have it on standby. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. But we wait. We listen, we wait, we watch, we wait for the soon return of our Lord Jesus Christ. It's a matter of time. So sorry about my voice being a little bit croaky. I was up until quite late. And I had a very interesting time. Something really weird happened, and I almost feel like I need to say this very quickly just before I log out. I went with a friend to the beach. A different friend. This is somebody that, interesting person. But we went to the beach, and I went for a swim. We had a barbecue and whatever. But I don't know if it's just me, but everything just feels strange. Everything feels surrealistic. I mean this. Everything feels, and I read this comment this morning by somebody. They sort of said the same thing. They said, doesn't it feel like the lull before the storm? And I'm like, it just feels strange. It felt so strange. Like yesterday, that afternoon is going to go down in my memory bank as the most surrealistic time. It was so surrealistic. I arrived on the beach. We were like the only ones. Like, where was everybody? Did I miss the rapture? It was like, there was nobody. It was just two of us. We arrived. Everything was like spotlessly clean, beautifully clean and neat, which is wonderful, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Made the barbecue. The food was beautiful. The prawns were wonderful. We had our drinks. It was really nice. And then we went onto the beach, and it was a bit windy, but it wasn't strange windy, like intensely windy. It was just a whispery windy, like there was this gentleness breathing across the ocean. And I took a swim. It was amazing, but again, it was like super surreal. It just felt surreal. The lighting was surreal. Everything was surreal. I got out the water. The water was perfect. Not cold at all. Like perfect water. I had a shower, the perfect shower water outside the beach was beautiful. Perfect water. Nothing cold. In fact, I didn't even use a towel. Or did I use a towel? I think I used a towel a little bit, but I don't remember using like the towel. It was just nice. The weather was almost perfect. As in to dry you. It dried me up within a few minutes, a few seconds. Put on my shirt, and then we drove. We drove from that beach to another beach, and this time we parked the car. There was this whispery white sand coming onto the car lot, being blown onto the car lot, and it didn't help that I turned on Vangelis Blade Runner, and I had that music playing in the background as well. That also gave it surrealism, but eventually I switched that off. But as I continued to watch, I just suddenly realized this is just so surreal. It just felt, I'm serious, it's felt like the strangest experience. when that experience was over, then I drove out of there, and the whole journey was just surrealistic. The whole thing felt strange, and I'm trying to interpret it. Did it feel like it was the last, like it was the last time? Is that what it was? Did it feel like, my mind was just not there? I was there, but I wasn't really there, was I? In mind, body, and spirit, it just felt very, very, very strange. I know I just have this feeling that we're not going to be around very long. I just have this strange feeling, and I even with things like around me, nothing really takes my attention anymore. Like I've got a couple of things I got to do. There's a few jobs that need to be completed, things I need to do, not only for clients, but for ourselves, for what we are doing. But I can't see how we're going to be around to do any more stuff after that. I just have this weird feeling that it's all timing to the end. It's starting to feel like it's timing out. It's sort of starting to feel like it's moving into this. It's timing out. It's now, it's like, when it's like timing out, right? You start switching off, you start closing tabs, you start finalizing things for the night, you close off your document, There's lots of things like that going on, There's all this convergence of things going on around us that's making us think, I just can't see how this is going to pan out any differently, I can see what they're trying to do. Like Dad always says, they'll try. But whether they'll do it or not, that's another story. They're going to try. But I really think, the Creator, our wonderful Messiah, Yeshua, will be there for us, irrespective. I really believe, after reading 145 plus scriptures that relate to our blessed hope, that we will be pulled out of here. But if we're not, because there are some people who believe that we won't. And really, I'm always intrigued by that because it's in the Bible. It's something very biblical and very dispensational. It's right in there. Why can so many, like thousands of people see it and others just can't? But I get that, and I say that with love because I'm not upset with anybody. It's not contingent on your salvation. It's just, it's there, But I also really do believe that those who don't believe we're going to be raptured will go through the tribulation. They want to go through the tribulation for whatever reason. They really think they need to go through that. I meet a lot of people, and almost always I check in on them to see if they know about the rapture. And most people believe in it. Most people know it's true. I'm gonna close it off here because I really think, we can't be legalistic in our approach, especially with God. God can do anything. God is God. He can do anything. There's nothing he cannot do.